Hey gang, welcome back. It's been a little while since I've done a lesson, and for that I'm sorry, and I've been meaning to do this particular one for a while. This is going to be focusing on a blues shuffle, a shuffle rhythm, and I'm just going to play it for you right now. Right, there's so many songs that use this. There's so many guitar styles that are based on this, and it's got a really good groove, and it's easy to come up with variations on it, so we can add notes, we can accent different beats, but we're going to start with this basic one for now, and it's based on 3 chords. This one's in the key of E, so it's a 12-bar blues in E. And we start off with just the E string and the first fret of the A string. And we basically, you probably heard of a power chord, or you probably even play power chords. This is really like an E5 interval or an E power chord. And then we're just going up to the 4th fret with the 3rd finger. So if we don't worry about the right hand techniques yet, and we're just playing, that's what's going on. We're just going from the 2nd fret, which is a B note, to the 4th fret of the A string, which is a C sharp. And the whole time, we've got that open E ringing out underneath. Now, you can hear that doesn't sound the same as how I played it before. The real secret to the groove with most playing is in our right hand. It's our secret weapon. A lot of people focus on what the left hand has to do and treat the right hand as an afterthought. But the right hand, you could have all of the knowledge of the best licks and riffs in the world and have the fastest left hand, but if your right hand's not grooving or your right hand's sloppy, you're going to sound sloppy. So, not that sloppy's bad, right? There's sometimes where sloppy is actually kind of cool, but we want to have a nice solid rhythm happening in our picking hand. So this is one of the things that I get people to do before we play the whole riff. You can hear I've got lots of reverb happening on the amp, but we'll deal with that. You'll hear this called a swing rhythms. And if I don't mute it and I let them ring out, I've got a long note, short note, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. So if I bring the chord back, but I don't add that 3rd finger, the C sharp note, if I just stick with the E power chord. Okay, I'm already muting, so I'm going to let go of that mute. We'll get to that in a second. That's starting to get there. Right? Now, the real effect comes when we bring in the muting. The right hand is where this muting is going to come from in this case. Sometimes we can mute notes with our left hand as well, but for now, right hand muting, and it's this what I call the karate chop part. The edge of your palm here is going to be right on the bridge, right, depending on on your guitar. The strings are always coming over the saddle here. This is where the strings are coming up over the saddle, and I want to be right on that point. If I'm behind that point, I'm on the bridge, but I'm not touching the strings, no muting. If I'm quite forward of the bridge, or muting and no note, right? So there's a sweet spot where you come back and that karate chop part of your hand is just on where the strings are coming out. You can hear, if I let that ring, I have got some note ringing on, but it's definitely not a full open string sound. So yeah, right. So that's the muted rhythm. So let's just do that with me for a bit. Long, short, long, short, long. Over and over. Repetition is the key, and the way that I see it, this kind of stuff, anything that I have to do over and over with repetition, it's not a chore, because I like playing guitar, right? So I could be doing laundry or vacuuming. I'd rather do this over and over. The more you do it, the more it becomes natural. Alright, so now we can think about bringing that other note back in, the third finger on the 4th fret, aka C sharp. Right? You doing it? With that muting, make sure you're muting, make sure you're in that sweet spot. I'm not too far forward. I've lost my notes. If I'm too far back, it still sounds nice, but hasn't got the muted effect that I'm after. Alright, I'm sure you got that. Alright, the next thing we do is we just drop that whole thing down to the next 2 string sets. Well, not yet. So instead of remember, we number the strings from the skinny one, the high E is number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're playing on strings 6 and 5 then. Now we're going to play 5 and 4. So A becomes my open string, and I just drop my finger down onto the D string, or the 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at the 2nd fret, there's my A power chord, and 2 frets up with the 3rd finger. It's an F sharp down. Exactly the same pattern as before. We're just on the next string pair down. Hear that? So you can accent certain beats by I'm just lifting my right hand up. I'm exaggerating, but just lifting up for that one beat that I want to be louder than the others, and so the mute is released for that bit. So I'll start with muting, right? Here comes a louder one. Straight back to the mute. It's fun. You can create dynamics this way. What are dynamics, Dean? Dynamics are variations in the volume of your music. If we played at the same volume level, it would be it's not pitch, Dean, so it'd be if my voice was the same volume all the time. I could still have low notes and high notes, but the volume would be the same. So it's not the same as a monotone, but the effect is the same. If your playing is always the same volume, it can sound boring. Even if you're playing interesting notes, we like to hear variations in volume level as well as in pitch, so sometimes high notes, sometimes low notes, but your dynamics, volume changes. Sort of doing it in a very predictable way here, but that can be good because it can let your audience know, your listener or your bandmates know where certain parts of the music are. So if I'm highlighting every start of every bar, every 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I'm showing that I know where beat 1 is. 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I'm actually letting the mute release on 4 and as well as 1. So I'm sort of anticipating beat 1, creating a little bit of excitement. It's exciting, trust me. Dynamic excitement. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Just put it on and I'll do 4 and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. You can experiment with putting that accent, i.e. lifting the mute, your right hand muting, on different beats, which, you know, maybe beyond the scope of this session, but yeah, dynamics, what are they? We know what they are now, variations in volume, and how we can achieve them, in this case through right hand. You know, I'm not turning the volume up on the guitar or anything, I'm controlling my volume with my muting, and also how hard I'm hitting. So next, we've gone from the E. 4 bars of that. To the A. Back to the E. So the last part of our 12-bar blues, the last 4 bars, we go B. Now, how do you do a B power chord or a B chord for your shuffle? You're on that A string 2nd fret, which is the B. Remember when we did the E chord, we had the low E and the A string 2nd fret. So the B was the top note in this, as in the higher note in pitch. Now this is our bass note for a B chord. It gets to be, you know, the boss in a tone right now. B, and I go down to the next string and up 2 frets. So I have this B and I have an F sharp. A string 2nd fret, D string 4th fret. That gives me a B power chord. Now, to get the rest of the pattern going, I'm going to stretch up 2 more frets with my pinky. And I remember when I learnt this years and years ago, that was a hard stretch. I can still feel it stretchy now. So, you know, it might take a little bit of time to get used to it, but definitely persevere with it, because it keeps that same rhythm going. However, and I think I did this at the very start when I demoed this, you don't actually need to do that. We're only on this chord for 4 beats. So it's quite okay just to play the power chord, the B and the F sharp. And actually in some ways it's nice because it, you know, it breaks up the rhythm. So it was very predictable up until here. So if we actually go from the other rhythm, so here's my B. Alright, and then I go back to A, which was the A string and the D, A string open, D string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, just like before. So I'm going to do the B chord, A, D, and we finish up on B. Now if you want to get a written version of this chord progression, I can write that out for you. Just send me a message and I can email it to you. But I really think you can do this from the video. So let's just recap it. E, A, just drop it down. That muting. Now B without the pinky this time. A, D, and the B. I like, there's all different things you can do on the final bar of a 12-bar blues, the bar 12. You can play the shuffle rhythm. You can play a B7 chord. That B7 chord, that's a lovely one, chuck there. Or you can just do the B chord, and it is nice to build up here. This is where, you know, this is the very end of this whole 12-bar format. and it's about to go back to the beginning. So this is a good point to signal to the audience and your other musicians that you might be jamming with that, we're at the end here, guys. We all together, we're getting ready to go back to beat 1. So like your drummer might do some big cymbal hits on the end of 12 and the start of bar 1 again, just to sort of, hey, we're starting again. So we can sort of prepare that. So we've got, this would be bar 9, 10, bar 11, here's 12. And you start your bar 1 soft. And it just creates this cool, interesting dynamic rather than just playing the whole thing all the way through. I think that wraps it up. There's, like I said, there's some other things that we can do. You can experiment with your pinky. I like that one. Take it down. You've probably heard this many times. You go, oh yeah, that's what that is. Okay. I also like to do stuff with I've got actually a couple of notes on the E string. The open string now can actually have some notes. And as you experiment and get comfortable with the first one without just the 2 fingers, then add the pinky. Then you start to mix and match. It doesn't have to be the same thing all the way through. Alrighty, there's one more thing that I'd like to do, and that's play the whole thing again and actually just count out the bar numbers so you see at what point mathematically in the 12-bar blues everything happens. You probably just, I learned this by ear. You just get a feel for when things go, but if you actually know, you've got the first chord for 4 bars, and then you've got the next chord for 2 bars, and so on. So let's just call it out. I'm going to call out bar by bar. Ready? Join in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is bar 1, 2, bar 3, bar 4. Okay, change. Bar 5 is A. Bar 6, back to E. Bar 7, bar 8. Here comes our B. Bar 9, bar 10. E is 11. 12 is B. We'll do it one more time. Here's bar 4, bar 5, 6, bar 7, and 8. Here's the last 4, 9. Alright, so hopefully that has given you some new ideas with playing a shuffle rhythm, and really check out that right hand. That's the secret weapon really. The left hand notes is just choosing what we might possibly hear. The right note, the right hand, that's the thing that articulates the sound that we're going to hear, and it determines whether we're on time or ahead of time or behind the beat. How loud we are, if we're hearing, an even progression from soft to loud or like a sudden progression, right hand's everything. So you can actually do this. Just get that shuffle. That's kind of fun too. Alright guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and share this. Recommend it to your musical friends who are learning. All right, thanks again. See you later. Bye.